will try, okay? I'll open this also maybe in VS Code. Is this okay? Eclipse Workspace Playwright API testing. Let me try in so this one. Open folder. So Eclipse Workspace, Playwright API testing. Lombok. Yeah, here I think we are not seeing that issue. I think you can use here also, even VS Code also it is working fine. Okay. You can use there also anything fine, but let me show you running is very easy for us here in IntelliJ. Okay. Lombok. You can see here I just created one class. Same thing, I just users dot builder and then dot name, email, gender, status, and build method you have to call. So this is how you can set your JSON data. So once you set this JSON data, this is quite common API request context dot post method, and so this post method returns a API response object, and then I have to set the headers, both content type and authorization, and set data is this users you are giving that. So once you just print the status and the status text, so you will get that. But this one I just written for one of the error I was getting. To handle that error, I just handle this. Otherwise, you don't need this. Okay, just ignore that. So then I'm validating with the status code 201, and also validating a message created. So string API response text, API response dot text method. So which gives all the string format it will print for us. So convert the response JSON to POSO. So this is called deserialization I was telling, right? Object mapper object I created here on the top itself. So you can use that object mapper object dot read value. So this API response text dot users. So users dot class. Okay. You have to use users dot class. And then you can just print that so this actual users, because this returns a users object. This is the actual user you're getting. So actual user, you're getting that. So in that actual user, you can get the user ID. So get the user ID. So actual user, this response dot get ID. So you will get the user ID. And same way you can do assertions, all the assertions you can do that. Actual user dot get name, users dot get name. Users means this object. So users, this one. This is the request one. So that object dot all the, see, we are getting the getters. So we are getting all the getters there. See this, we didn't create here, right? In the, so if you see this users, we didn't create any getter and setter, but we are getting that. How it is possible? Because of this Lombok. So Lombok will give you automatically. So by just creating classes. So automatically it will give you the getters and setters. See, get name and get email. So get status. So you are converting this JSON data. This is the JSON data, and you're getting the value also. Both you're comparing with asset equals. So this is what we call this Lombok usage. Okay. Even last asset not null, ID should not be null, right? When you create a account, it should not be null, right? So that is what I'm doing here also. So asset not null. So just you can execute this test case. Simply call this. Very straightforward. Maybe if you want, you can add different data, whatever the data you need. See that test case execution is done. So this is how you can validate your Lombok data also. Okay. Yeah. That's it. And I will just delete this test case here. And again, I'll come back to here for setting the data. Okay. You can so do whatever the data you want. Even for put method also, you can do the same. So first, we need to create, yeah, I don't know, again, put method also, it will give error, this builder, because I'm going to use builder only with Lombok. So for put method, let me explain this. So for put method, what you need to do, you have to first create the user, then take the user ID. So if you see here, so you have to give ID. ID you have to fetch from the post. And that user ID you have to use for the put method. So that is what I'm doing. So that means if you want to update, you should first create the user. That's the first step. Second step, you have to update the required user. Whatever the ID you're giving, that ID you can update it. And third one, you can get it if you want, you can get the data. So updated data is showing or not, you need to validate, right? If you want to validate, you should get that with that user ID, it is updated or not, we can assert that after getting with a get call. So these are the three steps you should write. Okay. So the three steps, so that I have implemented here. You can see. So with the put call, I have written another put call method. So this is all we have written. See, post call and put call and get call. So these are the three things you need for update user put call with the Lombok. So you can do with the Lombok, you can do with so whatever you want. But I'm using Lombok. Let's see the email ID also. I created one global variable and a playwright object we created, API request. So we created API request context global variables we created. Now, see this email ID, I made it a global variable so that whatever it is generated, you can directly use that also. So if you want. Yeah. So create user. I have to change this. It's not create user. Put. Okay. Update user. So basically it's a update user. So update user put call with Lombok. Okay. So update user with put call. So I have included all three requests in one method only. Because it's a sequence, right? That sequence you have to maintain. So first I need to set the data. Users equal to users dot builder method. Dot name, you can give any name. And dot email. So this get random email method you need to call here because every time you have to get a new email. So gender, status, and build. So this will build my request body. So after that, so first you need to do a create, right? Create a user. The first one, create a user with a post. So that's a step one we are doing. Step one we are doing. So for updating, you need first you should create the user. It's independent. Your test case should be independent. It should not be dependent on other test cases. So that's why first, if you want to update, I'm creating a user, taking the user ID, and then updating this data. Okay. So let's see how to do that. So then you set the data users and pass it. And I'm just again printing the status codes and all those things. But this one, we ignore that, no issues. Status 201 created. API response text, API response dot text method, which will give you the string type data, all the API response in string format, and you're printing that. So then object mapper, you create object for object mapper, and then users act user equal to object mapper dot read value, the API response text dot, so users dot class. So then you got the actual user data, and then so you can get the user ID. This actual user dot get ID, you will get the user ID. So then you can compare. So all this, whatever the post call with Lombok, same code I have written here. Now, so step 2. So update status active to inactive. So here we have given active, right? I want to update this active to inactive. So that's how to do that. Let's see that. See, whatever the fields you want to update, only that fields you call it. See that users dot set name, updating the username also. Ramesh Q automation platform. Here I have given Ramesh, so Chinnu Ramesh, right? But here I am updating the name. I'm setting the name Ramesh Q automation platform. Then I'm updating the status. So active to inactive, I'm doing that. So now this one, I need to pass it here. So that's a users, you need to pass it here. So this is a put call. Put call is happening here. So I can say here, this is the one. I will skip it here all. Okay, so no issues. See API requested context dot put method. For put method also, see what you have to give. So user ID. See how I am passing user ID. This is the path parameters, we call that. And request options, create, and you give the headers and authorization, you provide that. Then set data. So for even put call, you need to provide the request body. That is what we are providing with the set data method. And then, so you can print the status and URL if you want, you can print the URL also. And status code, and status code is 200, but for create status code is 201. But for put, status code is 200 and status response is okay. So once you get that, get the put API response. See, I changed it here. The API response class is same, but my variable is different. API put response. Okay, so that's what you have to change the variables. Make sure you give proper variables. So once it is done, object mapper 1 equal to new object mapper. So this is for my put related. So I'm converting a JSON data to POSO. That's a deserialization, we call that. Users actual user equal to object mapper dot read value API put response text comma users dot class. So then this actual put user, you can print it. And then you see here, we are updating, we are accepting. So actual put user get name and users get name. So both should be same, right? We are what we are given, what we have given here. So we set this name, right? This name I'm comparing with the actual user, actual response body name. And then email, you can compare the email status, get status from the users, gender, get gender, and get ID, user ID. So, and actual user should not be a null. So asset not null means, so this should not be a null. So that's a second test case. And third one, we have get the updates. Once you update it and you get that all the details. So that's what I'm doing. API response, API get response, API response text dot get method. So you can see I'm a specific user we need to get, right? Only that specific user. See, this is the path parameter we are giving. So with that path parameter, I'm getting all the data and storing here. And then you can print your status, you print and validate the status code, validate the status message. Then, so response, API get response dot text method, you call it. And then just, so store in a string variable, print that string data, string response data. Then print the response body in a pretty format. So you can just print object mapper. This, you know, already object mapper purpose is you are so parsing the JSON data into your POSO format. That's a deserialization also, we call that. So object mapper dot read value, get response text, and users dot class. So users, this method returns users object type. That's why the data type, variable name, so object mapper reference dot read value. So this is the how you can see, you will get automatically here what type of data this method returns. The whatever the type you are given, that type only it returns. And then, so these are the validations. So whatever you updated, that should be there in the get call also. So actual get users dot get email, users dot get email. Actual get users dot get gender, get gender. So get name, users dot get name. So get ID, user ID. So get status and users dot get status. So this is the how you can validate whether the data is updated or not. If it is updated, and it will pass. If it is not updated, it will fail. So let's run this test case. Okay, so let's see one by one. First, the post call created. See, the we didn't print in pretty format, but you can see here. You can see here name is Chennu Ramesh. So, and also email. So this is the email. And gender we have given, and male status active we have given. Okay, so this is so the data that we have given, it is plenty. Okay, now I want update that. See now the ID, whatever the ID you created, same ID I am updating. See now name before Chennu Ramesh, now it is Ramesh QA automation platform. So this is the updating. We are updating name field here with a put call. And then email. So then we updated a status, right? Let's see the status. See status here, active. When you create time, it was active. After update, change it to inactive because we are changing that. We are updating that to inactive. So it's clearly showing it update is happened properly. Okay, so then we are just printing that, that's fine. And a get call. See, this is the get call. So the get call is, let me separate that. So we are not able to figure it out, right? So the response, that response is from where? Yeah, I'll just put it here. So get call. Okay. Yeah. So now I'll run it. Right. So this is the put call data and this is the get call data. See? So we're getting same data, right? So this is the ID, created user ID, updated user ID, and get call user ID same. So only data is changed because we updated. That's what. See, even status is inactive here, inactive here. So gender male, and email also same. So this is the how you can update. So how to update a user, and you have to frame it. So don't directly update it. First create the user, then take the relevant data, whatever you need from the response body, and use that body in the next request. That is put call. Because we need here user ID, that user ID we are doing that. Next, any questions before going for the last one, delete call? Yeah. So for delete call, what we need? Again, you need a user ID, right? You see this, a delete call. You need this ID, right? You need this ID. So again, you need to start from scratch. So you create the user, okay? You create the user, then take the user ID, then delete call you need to call. Then try to get it. If you try to get the same user ID, so what will happen? You should get a 404 not found. See, 204 no content it is saying. If it is deleted, next time you call it. See, 404 not found. So one time it will be there. Second time, the resource not found because this ID got deleted. And you're trying to access the resource which is not there in the server. That time you will get a 404 not found. So you can validate like that, whether the delete is successful. How do you ensure that? So if you try to get it and if you get the status code 404 not found, then the delete is successful. Just calling the delete and without calling the get call, and you cannot come to know that. So that's why you have to plan the test case properly. First create and get the user ID, delete it. Then third step, validate is validation, the end to end you're doing that. So that end to end is very important here. Okay, so that's what I have done here. Let's go and see this. So here again, first I'm creating the user. So all create the user. Then second one, delete the user. Same user, whatever you created, that same user you delete it. And next one, get the user. So these are the cases we need to execute. Let's go and do that same thing. And see, same again, Lombok only I'm using. So let me change this also. Delete user. This is a delete user. Okay, so delete user. See, I'm calling this users. This users. So users reference object, users dot builder method. The builder method. So name is this one. So I can give whatever the name I. And the email is this is the email. And the gender, whatever you want, you can give status active. So this is what we have given a request data. So basically all the fields I'm calling after builder method. So you can call all the fields directly. And so the post method, and you have to pass this data, and then you will get the response status, and response status is 201, and response status text is created, and we are validating with asset equals. And then you just print a text of that entire response. That's what we are doing here. And then convert the response text to POSO. So this is called deserialization. Converting the JSON object to plain old Java objects is called deserialization. And the serialization means converting the Java objects into JSON format, JSON object. That is called serialization. Please remember, this is a very important. They will definitely ask you in the interviews, what is serialization and deserialization. And so just create object for object mapper. This is available in the Jackson data bind dependency. From that dependency, you're getting this class. Then object mapper dot read value. You can read the value. And see this string text you have to pass here, not this one, not this API response. So you have to pass that the string value you need to pass here for this read value method. And then I'm getting the user ID. You can asset all these assertions you can do if you want. Then update the status, but we don't need this one, right? This one we don't need. So this one we don't need. Okay, so then delete call, you need to call the delete call. So API response dot delete method. And you can see here plus the user ID. This is the path parameter. This is called path parameter. And you're giving authorization. This is the bearer token you're providing. And then to validate the status code, and say 204 you need to get, and the response text is the response message is no content. What is that you're expecting? No content. After that, you get the API delete response text. And once it got, that's enough for us. Nothing is there, right? You can just nothing to print also. There is no message, everything is blank. So we have seen that. Now get the user, uh, get the user, get the delete user with the get call. Okay. So now if you try to get same ID, that ID you got deleted, and it should throw for us, see 404 not found. I'm expecting 404 not found. What is the response status code with this? And then not found, you need to validate. That's it. So, and also if you want some response text, you can print the response text. Maybe I can say asset dot asset true get response text dot contains resource not found, right? This one. So this entire thing is a response body. So that's a get response text, this one, which contains resource not found value or not. You're expecting true. And if this returns true, and your test case will pass. Okay. So that's all about delete method. So let's execute this. Yeah. So you can see the created user is this is the one. And 204 no content, and see 404 not found. So resource not found is printed. This is the response body printed. The response to text, right? The text is printed and 404 not found. So test case is passed. So this is how you need to do validations. Just delete means don't call just delete. If there is a dependencies and end-to-end test case, you need to plan it. So that is what this API testing with the Playwright. Any questions? Apart from that, we are good now. If you have any questions, we'll answer. Otherwise, we are done with the API testing with the Playwright. Course also done. You can. So if you have any questions, you can come back always. Otherwise, now we are starting a new batch on Monday. If you want, you can join there also.